Hey, so this is another day, and today is Thursday, and Thursday is said to be the day of Lord Vishnu, and it is said that Lord Vishnu likes the color yellow. So, therefore, in Hinduism, you see that more people wear yellow on Thursdays for that reason, and therefore, I thought let's wear yellow today because it's Thursday, so it would be good to be liked by Lord Vishnu. So that's great. And now we are here with another day. So, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we will talk about. What should we talk about? Yeah, I'll talk about how it's difficult to find topics to write on every day. Okay, or maybe topics to speak on every day. So, let's address the problem that we're facing right now. That I'm not finding a good topic right now that I should talk about. So, what should we do in such cases when you're not able to find topics? A lot of people say that I want to write, but I don't know what to write about. I don't know what topics to write about. So, in that case, uh, you just refer to the internet. Internet is like that vast open library, but there are so many things being talked about, so many controversial things being talked about, so many informational things being talked about. It's just really vast. So if you just go to the internet and see for yourself what are the things being talked about, what is something that is intriguing people, and then go do your own research on those things and then talk about those things. Okay, so it doesn't always have to come from inside you. It's good if a topic comes from inside you. Like mostly the topics that I speak on and topics that I write on come from inside of me, that I genuinely want to speak about, or something that I want to talk about, right? But if that doesn't happen on any day, it's not like that I'm not going to make a video on that day, or I'm not going to write a blog on that day. I still do, and for those days I just refer to the internet. What are other people talking about? Take inspiration from others and do your own research upon that and talk about it, whether it's in the form of writing or in the form of a video. Doesn't matter. Okay, so that's how you should take it. It's like in the time of the internet, you can't really say that I don't have topics. Okay, there are so many topics and they are freely accessible, right? You don't even have to pay anything except for your internet costs and your device costs, whatever it costs, which is minimal. So just don't make such excuses. Try to be out there. Internet is a vast place with amazing people doing amazing things. Look at them, try to be like them, take inspiration from them, and do something like them. Okay, so that's the message for today. I'll see you later. All sophisticated solutions start extremely simple. There's always a temptation to launch a fully built product with more features and capabilities than existing competitors. It's exciting to build the next Google, the next iPhone, or the next SpaceX, isn't it? This temptation is dangerous because even the most successful products in the market had simple beginnings. No product arrives in the market fully fleshed out. The company behind a successful product has developed its internal capabilities and know how about various tiny but important details over a long period of time. On day one, a startup simply cannot match such capabilities. Here's a graph. Think of your favorite products, from the phone you use to the car you drive. The first version of such products was extremely simple. It's only after thousands of incremental advances that today these market dominating products appear so marvelously sophisticated. Does it then mean that it's impossible to compete in an existing market? Yes, it's impossible to beat existing players if the aim is to compete with them head on. Mature markets require mature products, and getting there takes time. If you make an attempt to build a sophisticated product in the first go itself, chances are that you will miss many subtle but important details behind existing leading products' dominance in the market. There's also a risk of massive time and cost overruns during the development of a complex product. And after launch, because the product wasn't iterated in the market, early users are likely to get confused by the strangeness of design. Even if you get early adopters, all the feedback on the product, a million tiny nuances and misses is likely to overwhelm your team. In short, aiming for a fully built out product on day one is a recipe for disaster. The most famous example of such a disaster is perhaps Apple's first personal computer, Lisa. Its development started in 1978. Steve Jobs wanted it to be perfect before launch, so the launch was delayed multiple times. It finally launched in 1983 with a hefty price tag of $10,000. Lisa was costly because Apple introduced multiple innovations on day one with it: new OS, new GUI interface, a new file system, and floppy disk. The combination of these innovations translated into subpar experience for customers. It was too strange for customers. People like novelty but not too much of it, hence selling only 10,000 units. Lisa became Apple's biggest failure, nearly bankrupting them. Its entrepreneurs should not aim to build a fully built out product. What should they aim for? A much wiser choice is to start with a simple product that excels at one and or a few aspects that customers care about that existing competitors aren't providing. The rest of the product features should be non-existent or extremely basic. Take Tesla, for example. It may seem that in 2004, when they started, the car market was already mature, but they didn't set out to build a general purpose car. Their first car, Roadster, was a sports car meant for a niche audience. Their strategy was to gain experience in building car for a very specific customer, the one who desired electronic sports car before attempting to challenge the automotive industry giants. Even with that limited ambition, Tesla didn't initially build the technology in-house. They took technical help from a company called AC Propulsion, and car manufacturing help from Lotus, a company with 7 decades of experience in car building. Even after all the help, it took Tesla 4 years, from 2004 to 2008, and multiple prototypes to launch the first version of the Roadster. The Tesla cars that we see today are a result of a very simple first version evolving over a period of time. All big companies ignore niches, and building an extremely focused product for that niche is a much better strategy than trying to compete with the entire market. When starting out, aim to be the king of a pond, not a dead fish in the ocean. Once you dominate your pond, you can always aim to dominate another and much bigger pond. Remember, initially, do one thing, but do it really well and ignore everything else. Okay, so that was the blog. Incredible insights that when you're going out to build a product, don't try to build out a full-fledged product, a properly functioning product with all the features stuffed in. Don't do that. A lot of people do that mistake. Just make those features which are really important that differentiate you from the products that are already in the market, and go out and launch with just that bare bones version of the product. That's the approach you should be following with the product, not trying to make it full-fledged perfect or anything like that. Just go out, and then after you put out the bare bones version, just iterate, take a lot of feedback and iterate based on that, and keep making your product better over time. That's how all these amazing products are built. They were not built in one day, or they were not built before launch. They were built over a period of time. Understand that. So that was the blog for today by Paras Chopra on his website invertedpassion.com. Okay, bye. So that was the day from my side. A decently productive day, got some decent headway on all the important things. So good day. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.